All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle one of history's most mind-bending puzzles, an ancient temple that seems to completely defy the laws of physics as we know them.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but this isn't some riddle. It's a real place, and it raises a question that honestly still stumps modern engineers. How in the world did ancient builders, without any of our fancy tech, manage to pull something like this off?
Think about it. Today, we've got steel, AI, super complex computer simulations to build our skyscrapers. But 1,000 years ago, they had stone, math, and an incredibly deep understanding of sunlight. That's it. When you put them side by side, it just highlights the sheer genius it took to create what they did with, well, so much less.
Okay, so our first section is all about what we're calling the impossible shadow. It's a 1,000-year-old engineering puzzle, and it all comes down to one absolutely remarkable building.
So let's get the basic facts down. We're talking about the Brihadeeswarar Temple in India. This thing was built way back in 1010 AD. It shoots up over 200 feet into the sky. It's made completely out of granite, and, get this, it was built without any of the stuff we think is essential. No cranes, no electricity, no steel. Nothing.
And here's the crazy part, the real anomaly. At exactly noon, the giant tower's shadow, it doesn't stretch out. It doesn't fall to one side. It just disappears. It's gone. So, what's going on here? Is it magic? Some kind of clever tourist illusion? Well, not exactly. Let's dig into our next section and uncover the secret in the stone. We're going to deconstruct this so-called magic. Okay, so the explanation is actually both incredibly simple and totally brilliant. It all comes down to solar geometry. First, the sun hits its highest point in the sky. That's what we call solar noon. At that precise moment, the sun's rays are coming down almost perfectly vertical. And because of the temple's super specific design and angles, the shadow just collapses right into the base of the building, so you can't even see it from the outside.
So yeah, it wasn't magic at all. It was incredibly intentional solar alignment. These builders calculated the Earth's tilt, the sun's path through the seasons, their exact spot on the globe, all with a level of precision that is, frankly, terrifying. And they did it all without any of our modern instruments.
But that kind of precision just leads to a much bigger question, right? Why? Why go to all that trouble? Well, the answer has everything to do with the people who built it, an empire of knowledge. And their goal was, essentially, to control time itself. You see, this temple had a dual purpose. On the one hand, yeah, it was a spiritual place, a place of worship, but it was also a very sophisticated tool of power. It acted as a bank, keeping track of gold donations and who owned what land. The acoustics were so advanced that they could amplify chants, turning it into a powerful hall for making big announcements. Basically, this place was the data center and the power hub for the entire Chola Empire. And that right there, that's the ultimate motivation. Why would you master astronomy to this degree? Well, think about it. If you can predict the monsoons, if you know exactly when the solstices are, you control the planting seasons, you control the harvest, you control when taxes get collected. Because controlling time, well, that means controlling people. But just when we think we've figured out the shadow mystery, another one pops up right out of the stone itself. And honestly, this one is even more baffling. Let's talk about the 80-ton question. Just look at that number, 80 tons. That is how much a single solid piece of granite weighs. And that piece of granite is sitting at the very top of the temple's dome, 200 feet in the air. Which of course leads to the big, obvious, and so far completely unanswered question, in an age with no giant modern cranes, how on earth did they get an 80-ton rock all the way up there? Yeah, we don't have a solid answer, we just have theories. The main one suggests they built this enormous earthen ramp, maybe 6 kilometers long, that's almost 4 miles, just to slowly drag the stone up. Others think they had some kind of super advanced pulley system, but the knowledge for it is just gone. Then there's a darker theory, that the knowledge wasn't lost at all. It was deliberately erased, because after all, secrets are power. But you know, this kind of ambition, building these massive structures that are perfectly aligned with the stars, it wasn't just the Chola Empire doing this. It was, in fact, a global obsession, a universal human drive to understand and ultimately control the sun. Let's look at ancient Egypt. The pyramids at Giza, they weren't just tombs. They were gigantic solar clocks perfectly aligned to track the stars and basically mark time for an entire civilization. Hop over to Britain, and you've got Stonehenge. That mysterious stone circle is a huge solar calendar. For thousands of years, those stones have marked the summer and winter solstices with this almost spooky accuracy.
And then, if you go across the Atlantic, you've got the Mayan temples, like El Castillo. They were designed so that on the equinox, a serpent made of pure light would look like it was slithering down the steps. Just a stunning mix of architecture and astronomy.
You start to see the pattern, right? Totally different cultures, separated by thousands of miles, thousands of years, but they all have the same obsession. If you control the sun, you control the calendar, you control the harvest, you control the rhythm of life. Control time, and you control the people.
Which brings us to our final, big question. A question about human progress itself. Was all this incredible knowledge just lost? Or was it hidden on purpose?
Here's a thought that kind of flips our modern view on its head. What if ancient civilizations weren't primitive? Not at all. What if they were just incredibly secretive? What if knowledge back then wasn't something to be shared, but was a weapon to be guarded?
And maybe that's the real takeaway here. The biggest mystery of this temple isn't just how did they lift that 80-ton stone? It's wondering, what else did we once know? What other incredible knowledge did humanity have that we, for whatever reason, chose to forget?